Hello and welcome to this brief demonstration of the key features of Easy Sketch Pro. In case you don't know, Easy Sketch Pro is a piece of software that allows you to create whiteboard animation videos. Whiteboard animation is where a series of images and texts are drawn onto a canvas, apparently by a person, to illustrate whatever narrative you want in a video. Whiteboard animation videos are also called variously doodle videos, explainer videos, sketch videos. There's a number of names, but I'll call it whiteboard animation for consistency. Okay, so in this workspace you can see along the top here we have a series of tool buttons, each of which kicks off a different feature of Easy Sketch Pro. Everything you need is in these tool buttons up here. On the left hand side we've got a preview of the various slides we may create, but we'll come back to that a bit later. And in the middle we've got this white rectangle which is called the canvas. Now the canvas is what the camera sees, so anything that you place inside this white rectangle will end up on your final video, but not anything outside there. First things first, this is the default size of the canvas, but if you want your video to say be in high definition, you can come up here to settings and change the canvas size. The default 640 by 480, but we can do 1280 by 720 and 1920 by 1080. We'll switch to 1280 by 720 because, for example, that's the typical size for a YouTube video. If we click on that and click save, you can see the canvas is now much bigger and we're in high definition. You can also, in settings, change the background color. At the moment you can see the color's white. If we click on the color, we have a palette up here. We can set it, we can set the various hues, saturation, we can go red, green and black, or we can just pick basic colors for up here. For example, if I wanted blue, I could pick that, go OK and save, and now I have a blue canvas. Okay, but for the purposes of this, I think we'll return to a white canvas like so and save that. Okay, so we build up our project, if you like, by adding various objects to the canvas. And there are three types of objects we can add. We can add images, text and video. To add an image, you just come up here to the image button, click on that, and the image library opens. Easy Sketch Pro comes with hundreds of images across various categories. You can see them all here. You can scroll. These are called galleries. We can scroll through the various galleries. Shapes, for example. We can use these bars to look at the various shapes we've got. Such things as pizza, eyes, faces, fantasy, you name it's in here. For the sake of this demonstration, we'll run with animals, and let's go with a cat. So if we want this cat, we just click on it and it appears in the center of the canvas. If you notice, it's annotated with the number 1. That's because it's the first object added to the canvas, and objects will be added when the project's completed. They will be drawn onto the canvas in the order of these numbers here. So this is the first one. To select the cat, we double click on it and we notice that we get this blue square appear around it, and now we can click and drag it anywhere we want on the canvas like so. We can also grab any of these 4 dots at the corners and rotate the image, and we can also drag in and out to make it bigger or smaller like so. Okay, so let's just put him here for a moment. Now if we at any time want to preview our project, we just click the preview button up here and it will play through the whiteboard animation project. So let's do that. And you can see hand comes in and draws in the cat. Okay, now there are a few ways in which you can add objects to the canvas. The default, as we saw, was to draw by hand, but if we again select the image and we right click and come down here to properties, then the excuse me, object properties window opens, and you can see here we've got draw style. This is the style in which the object is going to be added to the canvas. The default is draw by hand, but we've got a few other options. We've got drag by hand, so if I select that and do save, and now press play, you can see it's not a very good choice actually. If you're going to use drag, I wouldn't drag down because you get a dismembered hand. So what's better is once you've got something like drag by hand, you can select the direction you want the object to come in from. And from the top, it's obviously dragging it in from the top. For dragging in, it's better to come in from somewhere on the bottom so you don't get this dismembered effect. We'll try bottom, and if I save that and do it again, you can see the cat gets dragged in by hand like that. So that's dragging by hand. We've also got fade in which case, as its name suggests, the object will just fade in slowly onto the canvas wherever you put it. We've also got drag, which is the same as drag by hand, except there's no hand, so let's do that. And you'll see it just gets dragged in on its own. And then we've got draw, which is the same as draw by hand, but you guessed it, no hand. So if we preview that, see the cat gets drawn, but without the hand. Okay, so excuse me, if we go back into properties, you can see let's go back to draw by hand, like so. Notice that these directions are only relevant if you're using either drag, in which case this box opens, or drag by hand, in which case you can choose, as we've seen, to have the object come in from the left, top, right, bottom, or one of the corners. If you're dragging by hand, so it's best not to best not to drag from the top because you get your dismembered hand. So you would drag in from somewhere near the bottom. We'll go back to draw by hand. Now we've got various timings here. We've got the timing before in seconds, and that's the time that the software will wait before it starts to draw this object. Okay, this is the first object, so we'll leave that at 0 at the moment. You've then got the draw time, which is the default is 3 seconds. If we want to change that, we can either drag this slider. I mean, you can draw. I'd suggest you wouldn't want to go up to 180 seconds, 3 minutes to draw one object, but you can drag that slider like so. Excuse me, or you can change it here. Let's put 5 seconds in, for example. Timing fading is once the object's drawn in outline form, then the colour's added, and that colour fades into the object. So that's the time for the fading in of the colour, and it's half a second at the moment. We can reduce that to 0 if you don't want a fading effect. Timing after, as you expect, is the time that the software will wait after it's completed drawing this object before it starts drawing the next object. So we've changed this to 5 seconds. Let's just apply that and show you the effect. We saw it was drawing in 3 seconds before. Now it's actually drawing a bit slower. It takes 5 seconds, and you see the colour fade in there as well. Let's go back in and let's reset that to 3. Okay, now as well as having the in this case the cat come onto the canvas, we can optionally have it removed from the canvas as well. So the software will draw the cat, and then optionally we can have it take the cat off of the canvas as well. And that's determined by the exit style. At the moment there's none, meaning that the cat will stay on the canvas forever. If we want to take it off, we can choose from 2 effects, drag out or fade out. Drag out, for example, we can say we've got the direction, we can choose, let's go right, say something like that, and then we can specify an exit time, how long it takes to remove the cat from the canvas. At the moment that's 0 seconds, let's set it to 2, say, and let's save that. Now, if we preview our cat, it gets drawn 3 seconds, and then it gets dragged off to the right, as we specified. Okay, what we could do now is, remember we had this timing after, which was half a second. If we want the cat to stay a bit longer on the screen before it's dragged off, we can change this to say 2 seconds and save that. Now if we draw it, we get the cat drawn, we'll wait 2 seconds and then it gets dragged off to the right. Okay, let's change that so let's not have an effect for exit, so we keep the cat on the canvas. Just one other thing to show you on the properties here. Down the bottom here you can see we've got a stroke width and a stroke color. This relates to the strength or the size of the lines that the software uses to draw the image. So just to show you what we're talking, let's pump this up to say 3 and let's change the color to red. So you've got this typical color picker palette here to use, and if we save that, whereas before it was width of 1 and black, if we press preview now, see we're getting a much thicker red line to draw the cat. Okay, so let's just change that back, put that back down to 1, and I think we'll put this back to black. Okay, and save that. Okay, so that's our cat, but we'll probably want more than one image in our project, so let's add another image. And to do that, let's come up to image, and why don't we have the chicken? Click on the chicken, and we can move him around just as we could with the cat. We can rotate and resize him, like so. And notice that the chicken's got the number 2 attached to it, so it's the second object added to the canvas. So if we now press play or preview, we'll see that the cat's drawn first, it's the first object, and then the chicken's drawn second, it's the second object. Okay, so that's images. We can keep adding as many images as we want. How about adding some text, which is the second type of object we can add? To do that, we come up here to the text button and click text, and this opens the text editor. Which is a very standard text editor. We can start keying things, typing things into here. Let's have this. Sorry, this is a cat. Let's say we can change the font here. We've got all the fonts that are actually installed on your computer. Let's go for, I quite like. I can find it. Quite like. Can't find it. Permanent marker, quite like that. We can change the font size here. Let's make this about 24. Let's go for 28. And again, we can change the color by using a color picker like this, as we're now familiar with. Let's make this red, say. We could actually refine it by choosing red, green, and blue, and the hue, saturation, and so on, or even the HTML code down here if you know the code for a particular color you want to use. Okay, that's okay like that. We can bold it, or not bold it. We can italic, not italic, and so forth. And we can have it left aligned, center aligned, or right aligned, as with any editor. We can also do here right to left, so it will actually write the writing. If you click this button here, instead of left to right, as normally the case, it will write it right to left, which in some languages is useful. Okay, so we click OK. Again, this is an object, so we can double click on it to select it. We can move it around, we can make it bigger, smaller, we can rotate it exactly the same way as with images. And notice we've got the number 3 here because it's the third object added to the canvas. So if we now press preview, we get the cat, then the chicken's drawn, and then the hand writes out the text. This is a cat. Just as with images, we can use draw by hand, drag by hand, all the same options, and again we can use an exit to either drag it out or fade it out, and we have all of the timings. Seems 3 seconds a bit long to write this. Let's drop that down to 2 seconds, say, and then we'll save that. Now we may actually want to have exactly the same sort of text for the chicken, say. We could create it from scratch, but there's a useful feature in Easy Sketch Pro where if you again select the object, right click on it, then you can duplicate it. And what that does is creates another exact copy of the object you copied or duplicated, and in this case it's become number 4 because it's the 4th object. This is useful if you want something to actually not just look the same fonts and all that sort of stuff, but you actually want to have all the same properties like the way it's drawn, how long it takes to draw and so forth. It's just easier than doing it over and over again. Now we may want to change the order of these objects. At the moment we've got the cat drawn first, then the chicken, then this is a cat, and why don't we change this, by the way. This is text, so if we want to change it we can right click on the object and click on edit to open the text editor, and let's change this to, this is a chicken. Okay, so now we've got chicken. So let's say we wanted this is a cat done written after we've drawn the cat. What we can do is select this is a cat, right click on it, and we can do order up or order down. If we do order up, you'll notice it becomes number 2. So now the cat will be drawn, then this text, then the chicken, and then this is chicken, which is the way we want it. So if we preview that, we get that this is a cat, and then we get the chicken, and this is a chicken. Okay, so that's images and text. The third type of object we can add to our project is video. You can actually add videos as objects into your project, and to do that you come up here to the video button and opens this import video box. Obviously you have to have a video file to start with. I've just got a test one in here on the desktop which I'll pick up called Criswell. Press OK. Now there's use the high quality frames, doesn't really have any impact as far as I can gather, so I don't bother checking that. But it does have this useful option of sketch to video. If you check this, then the software will attempt to sketch out the first frame of the video and then turn it into a video, which is quite a neat effect. So let's do that. It's entirely optional. And then we add the video, it processes it to convert it into an object, and it comes onto the screen. You can see it's number 5 here now. At the moment it's occupying the whole screen, but again we can double click on it to select it. We can use our handles on the corners to move and resize it, rotate it, like so. Let's say something like that. Okay, now if we press preview, see we get the cat drawn. Cats, then we get chicken. This is a chicken. We see that our first frame of our video is sketched out. Okay, and the video plays. Now obviously you don't want to put really lengthy videos in here. I mean, it would take an awful lot of processing power to render it, and that would defeat the point anyway. If it was a really long video in here, you would actually have spliced together the video you wanted and whiteboard animation in a separate editor. But to have little little video snippets in is really useful like this. It's just like another object. Obviously, the properties are a bit different. I mean, draw by hand is fine when you're drawing out the first scene, if you like, and you can use fade, drag, draw, or none, and it will just appear if it's none. But obviously, you can't. The draw by hand or draw only applies to that first frame if you've selected sketch out the first frame. Okay, so that's video. And those are the 3 types of objects that you can add to the canvas. Okay, just for the sake of brevity of this demonstration, we will double click on the video, and we can either right click and click delete here, or you'll notice something I haven't mentioned before. All of these commands do have hotkey combinations to do the same thing if you want to use the hotkeys rather than the menu. So for example, if I double click on this and press delete, that's the hotkey for delete. We'll take that off the project. Now we've added a few objects and text onto this canvas. Now in most projects you'll want more than one canvas. So each canvas may be, if you like, a scene in your movie, if you look at it that way, and you want to create multiple scenes, each telling a different part of your narrative. So how do we do that? Well, it's simple. With Easy Sketch Pro, you just come up here to the New Slide button and click on that, and you can see that we've now got a new slide, and this is where this preview thumbnails in the left-hand column come into play. We've got our first slide up here, and now we've got a new slide, which is slide 2. For slide, read scene, if you like. It's a new canvas. We can switch between the slides we've created by clicking on them over here. So let's add another image here. Let's make this, let's have a cow. So let's put a cow in here. And if we now press preview, what will happen is that our cat will be drawn. This is a cat. We'll get our chicken drawn. This is a chicken. And then we move to the new canvas. Now you notice that was done fairly quickly. You may want to actually slow that transition down. So how would we do that? Well, we could go back to the first scene, and the last object drawn on this scene is this word here, this text. This is a chicken. If we select that and go to properties, then remember we had these various timings, and one of them is timing after. So this is the time after it completes this object before it starts the next object. So we could change that to, say, 2 seconds and save that. And now, if we preview it, we'll get the cat, the chicken, this is a chicken, and then we get a delay before it moves over to the new canvas. Okay, and you can add any number of scenes or slides that you want to your project. There's no limit to that. You can also, various options on the thumbnail menu over here. If you right click on a slide, you can delete that slide. You can play the project from here. So if you just want to see what happens with this scene and not go through the whole project, you can do that. You can also order up and order down the slide. So if I click on order up, this now becomes the first slide, this becomes the second slide. And notice that the cow is number 1 now because it's on the first slide. Put it back down to order 2. And the other thing is, if you've got a lot of objects, which we haven't at the moment, but if you had a lot of objects on this slide, in this scene, and you're just making a change to something in the middle or towards the end of the scene, it can be a bit of a pain to have to keep watching the whole scene to see the effect of your changes. So there's something called the timeline, which if you click up here, then you get thumbnails of all the objects in this particular scene, and you can actually click on any of them and have it play from that point. So for example, if I click on the chicken and say play from here, you can see it just plays from the chicken after the cat's been drawn. As I say, useful if you're just trying to find what the effect of some changes partway through your project are. Okay, so that's the essentials of adding objects to the canvas and creating multiple slides. What else have we got? Well, one thing you'll want to do, and I suggest you do regularly when you're creating a project, is to save it so that you don't get, half an hour into a project and then you have a power cut or something goes wrong and you've lost all your work. So you can save the project by coming up here to Save Project button, you click, and it will save the project. If you haven't saved the project before, it will ask you for a project name and where you want to save it to. You can see here it says file saved with 5 elements. If you want to, which again I recommend particularly with complicated projects, you may want to save periodic times or key moments in your project and save them under different names so that you can always go back to the last save point, if you like, before you try something radical. So if you want to do that, you click the Save As button here and it will ask you for a new name. So you could call it, I don't know, Project 1, Project 2, Project 3, and so on, so forth. So you can always go back to a previous point if you need to. If you want to create a new project, you click on New Project up here. I won't do that, but it will ask you to save the current project if you've got one open and it hasn't been saved, and then you'll start with a new project, blank canvas. We got save a new slide. We've seen image, we've seen text, video. Now music. It may well be that you want to add backing music to your project, in which case you come up here, click on music, and you've got a couple of options. You can choose from the library of excuse me, the library of music that comes with Easy Sketch Pro. There's a variety of tracks you can select from, and you can play here to hear what the music track's like. Very wonderful. And you can decide whether you want to loop the music. Now, if the music track, this one's 198 seconds, is shorter than the project, obviously it will just end when the project ends. If the project is longer than the music track, it will just stop unless you click this options here to loop the music, in which case the music will start again from the beginning and continue to play however many times is necessary for the project. Okay, as well as adding music from the library, you can click on the Browse button to pick up music tracks in MP3 format from your computer if you want to use your own backing track, and you can remove the track at any point by clicking Remove. Okay, so that's music. Notice also that you can change the volume here by dragging this slider to the left or right. If you are going to have a narrative voiceover as well as music, you want to have the volume of the music down so it doesn't actually play over the narrative and people can hear what the narrative is. So you can play around with that. Okay, and speaking, we'll remove that because we don't want it. Speaking of voiceovers, if you do want to have a voiceover, somebody speaking and explaining what's going on the screen, you again have a couple of options. You come up here to the voice over button and click on that, and it opens the voiceover recorder option. So just like with the music, you can either record your own voiceover here. If you assuming, of course, you have to have a microphone attached, you can just press the record button and then start speaking into your microphone and it will record the narrative for you. Alternatively, if you already have a narrative that's been produced outside, maybe you created an audio file yourself, or maybe you've had a voiceover artist do it for you, then again you can browse to pick up an MP3 file off of your computer, and again you can adjust the volume to get it where you want it to be. Okay, and you can preview it if you want. So those are the voiceover options, but both voiceover and music are entirely optional, of course. So let's cancel that. Next up, we've got backgrounds. We've already seen that on the settings, if you remember, with settings we could choose the background color for our canvas, which is white at the moment, but we can also add backgrounds, which are basically images. So we can, instead of a colored canvas, we could have an image for our canvas instead. If we click on backgrounds, then we open the backgrounds library, and you can see we've got the various resolutions of the canvas you want to pick background which is the same size as your canvas size, which in our case is 1280 by 720. And you can see there's a variety of options in the backgrounds library. You can scroll through these. We've got some billboards, adverts, some quite clever ones here. So, for example, well, we'll come back to the moment, but if you can also, if you have your own background you want to use, which can be any image in a JPEG format, then you click on Browse and pull that in and use that instead. However, you will want it to be at least the same proportions as your canvas to avoid it being distorted. Okay, but let's say we want that one. We just click on it, and now we've got this image as our canvas. And if we were to preview it, you can see it's, in this case, drawn nicely on this billboard, which looks quite good. Okay, we'll stop that, like so. That's backgrounds, which is quite clever. One thing I didn't show you on backgrounds, you can also, which is quite clever, have a video file as your background, which means that you can actually have the video playing, and then you can draw things over over the video. So you obviously have to have the video file prepared. If we browse, let's use our old Criswell one, which we used last time. So we bring that in, add the video, and there you can see that we've now got the video as the background to our project. If we press preview, you can see the video plays, and then the objects are drawn on top of it. Okay, very clever stuff. Obviously, this is a bad choice of colour, if you like. We've got a very dark video as the background, and I've got black being used as the line to sketch out objects. So if I was using this video background, I would change the, as we saw before, I'd change the, we can click on that, go properties, I would change the stroke colour here to something like white, say, so it would actually stand out more. Okay, but it's a very clever clever feature to have the video as the background. If you want to remove the background at any point, you just come up to backgrounds, click remove background, and then we're back to our plain canvas. Okay. Okay, so we've seen backgrounds. The next is hands. We've already seen the magic hand, if you like, sketching out these images and text, but we can actually choose from a variety of hands. If we click on hands, we get the hands library come up, and we can see that there's a variety of different types of hands: white male, white child male, brown female, black male, and so on. And we can choose from any of these. We can browse through the various hands, and we can have different draw hands, which is where it draws the image or the text, and we can have, if we want, a separate drag hand. If you prefer to have a different drag hand, I'm not sure why you would, but you can. You can also have a small hand, which I would recommend most of the time, or you can go with a big hand, which actually is pretty big. I mean, if we, let's choose something, let's go for black female, and let's go for a big sized hand. So I go back to the black female, big hand, and you can see we've got a variety of different writing implements as well. Let's choose this marker here. If we select that and now we press preview, we can see we've got a huge hand, which in most cases is probably too big. So we can stop that. So you can just change the hand if you want to go back to a small hand, and let's go for a white child male. So paintbrush, say, and preview that. So you can have a lot of fun changing the hands if you want. Okay, right, so that's all of these options up here. But what about producing your final video? Well, when you've got the project the way you want it and you're ready to produce a video, all you do is come up here and click the export button, and it asks you where you want to save it. We'll call this, I don't know, test 1, and it's going to produce a standard format MP4 file. We click on Save, and then the project, you can see up here it says Recording, and it will go through the project, and it's actually now creating the video for you. Okay, it's going to take a minute or so, so I'll come back when it's finished. Okay, only took about 30 seconds as it turns out, and you get a message saying file generated, file has been generated, do you want to open it? If you click yes, it'll open it in your default video player, and it will play the video for you. There we go. You can see our completed video. And that's pretty much it. That's walking you through the main features of Easy Sketch Pro itself, adding objects, images, text and video, and creating new scenes and adding voiceover music, backgrounds, different hands and so forth. It's a very powerful but very simple to use piece of software which allows you to create some very engaging and entertaining videos with basically drag and drop simplicity. I think you'll agree there's nothing complicated in what we've seen already, and yes, you can combine images and text and indeed video together to create some pretty sophisticated projects with it. Just before I wrap this up, there's one more big feature that you get with Easy Sketch Pro version 3, and that's interactive, facility to make your videos interactive. This isn't actually strictly part of Easy Sketch Pro because it's a separate piece of cloud-based software, but it's very powerful. It's too powerful for me to go through everything it does here, but I'll just give you a quick flavor of it. If you come up here on the toolbar and click interactive, then we go into this makemyvideointeractive.com, and I'll just give you a quick example of what some of the things you could do. You can add a video here, which could be any of your videos. For sake of speed, I've already got one in here. If I click on that, I've now got this video. I can play it like so forth, like so. And what I can do here is add what are called hotspots to any point in the video. Now, hotspots is something that people can click on to be interactive with the video. Let's do something for an example. Let's click on Add a Hotspot. You can see we've now got a hotspot added into the video. We can move it around wherever we want it to go. We can change the icon that's shown, the little image. There's lots of these, as you can see, 950. Let's say we want it to be a motor car, we can do that. We can change the color. Let's make it blue, say. Make it blue and choose that color. We can make the icon small, medium or large. Let's go for large. And then we can set the start time and the end time in our video we want this to display. So let's say we want it to start at 2 seconds and show for 5 seconds, so we'll end at 7 seconds. And then there's a number of things you can do. As I say, too many things to go through in here in detail, but I'll just give you a flavour. If we click on this drop-down menu, we can have a call to action where the video will pause and people are invited to go to another website, for example, which may be a sales letter, an opt-in form or whatever. You can have telephone. Obviously, that only works if you actually got a telephone connection. Similarly with Skype, you can have somebody Skype you, press a button to Skype you. You can add a YouTube video within your video, or you can have a Vimeo video, which is another video hosting platform. You can link to Instagram, SoundCloud, which is where collection of MP3 files, you could have those played. You can have a Facebook page thumbnail pop up and invite people to like your page, or you can link to Twitter to have people do that on Twitter. Have your video mentioned on Twitter. So as an example, if I select YouTube, the content of the popover is just for your benefit, so just test. And then you need a video URL. So I've got a video over here, which is an Easy Sketch Pro one. If I just copy the URL of it and put it in here, and then go save, Okay, I've now got hotspot. So if we come over here and go to turn on preview and play the video from the beginning. Okay, you can see I've got this thing. If I click on it, I've now got a video pops up and plays within the other video. It's taking a bit of time to do it. There we go. It plays that. So they can watch the whole video. Will come out of it like that, and then the video will continue to play here. It's a bit noisy, isn't it? If we come back at any point, let's turn off preview mode, go into edit, and let's go to this hotspot, which is here. If we now want to change that, instead of going to YouTube, for example, we can, what should we do? Let's do a call to action. So we click on call to action, the title can be anything. Let's send them off to Google. So let's call this go to Google, and we'll have that as the button text as well. Go to Google, and the link in this case would obviously be http Google, if I can spell, google.com. Save that. Now if we go back into preview mode, that's the beginning here, 2 seconds in, we'll get our hotspot. If we click on it, we get this come up. The video pauses and we get go to Google. If people click that button, then they go to Google. Of course, that could be a link to your opt-in form, your squeeze page. It could be a link to a sales letter. It could be a link to other content, your blog, whatever you like. Okay. And we'll stop that, come out of preview mode, and an interesting one is, let's go back to our hotspot. You can also force capture, which means, for example, if you wanted to force them to go to that page before they could continue watching the video, you would select this option here. So the only way they can continue to watch the video is when they've actually clicked on that button and gone to the website, which is a bit it's a bit harsh. I'm not sure I would use that, because you could alienate a lot of people. It's best to make it optional, but it's up to you. You can also here have custom setting, and you can add your own HTML code in here. So for example, you could actually have an opt-in form within the video. So you would actually get your autoresponder, create an opt-in form. I'm obviously not going to go into that here, how you do that, but you get the code off your autoresponder, you put it in here, and then when the hotspot turns up, it actually produce on the screen an opt-in form, so people can opt in directly over your video. It's very powerful stuff. As I say, this is just to give you a quick flavour. There's all sorts of amazing things, pretty amazing things you can do with Make My Video Interactive, and it adds another layer of sophistication to your Easy Sketch Pro videos, and definitely very powerful if you're using your whiteboard animation videos for marketing. Okay, enough said. That's the quick demonstration of Easy Sketch Pro. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you get as much use out of Easy Sketch Pro as I have. Thank you very much. Bye.